Let's start things off talking about the miracle of life and why it's so creepy.
The Paris Zoo is showing off a mysterious new organism.
They nicknamed it the Blob. It's a yellow, unicellular, small living being. It looks like a fungus, but it acts like an animal. The Blob has 720 sexes, can move without legs or wings, and it heals itself if it's cut in half. It has no brain but is able to learn, and if you merge two blobs, they can transmit knowledge to each other. Experts call it one of nature's mysteries.
Okay, that sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. Like, that sounded like the news report everyone in the horror movie ignores 10 minutes before the Blob takes over the town. And also, what does that mean, that the Blob has 720 different sexes? Did the Blob say that? Huh? Were the scientists like, what are your pronouns? All of them. And I know a lot of people see this and they get stressed. They're like, oh my God, this yellow blob is gonna take over the world. Guys, some yellow blob with no brain isn't gonna take over the planet. Because if it tries, we have an orange blob with no brain that's gonna fight it. It's gonna take it down. Yeah, DJT. Moving on to some big international news. Egypt still has old things left to dig up.
20 ancient coffins in Egypt are being called one of the most important archaeological finds in recent years. They were discovered recently along the Nile River. The coffins were stacked inside a large tomb, and they were sealed and intact. Amazingly, their colors and carvings have not faded despite being at least 2,000 years old.
Okay, that sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. Maybe there's a reason these 20 coffins were sealed so tight. Shut up and open them. Ah! And by the way, quick shout out to the guy who owned the coffin store in ancient Egypt. Can we just give him props? Huh? Think about it. Those coffins have lasted longer than any civilization ever. And they're ornate and beautiful, and they stand. I mean, these days, think about it. We just bury people in an apple box, basically. Yeah. Think about it. When they dig up our coffins in 2,000 years, they're just going to be like, man, people in 2019 were some broke-ass bitches. Oh, and also, quick question. How much time needs to pass until it's acceptable to start digging up dead people and looting their graves? No, because when these guys dig up coffins, they're archaeologists. But then when I do it, I'm desecrating the grave of Luther Vandross. Like, how is that fair? All right, and finally, when you're hungry and on the go, there's nothing better than a drive-thru. But thanks to a new law in California, you can now also get a drive over.
Roadkill could soon be on the menu.
Yes, that's right. Roadkill. It is what's for dinner now. Governor Gavin Newsom has just signed this new bill into law. Senate Bill 395 would allow drivers who unintentionally fatally strike a deer, elk, antelope, or wild pig to take it home and cook it. It would also allow people who stumbled upon an animal carcass in the road can also keep it for food. That is expected to help hungry people across California.
People are going to be taking dead animals home? That sounds like the beginning of a great romantic comedy. That is going to be adorable. She ran over his leg. He ran over her heart. But yes, eating roadkill is now legal in California. Yeah, and the owners of 7-Eleven were like, oh, was that illegal? My bad, my bad. And I'm not going to lie, this is one of the weirdest stories I've ever seen. Because honestly, I've never driven past roadkill and thought, if only it wasn't a crime. Like, I wouldn't eat a banana I found on the floor. You're taking home a dead deer? And actually, you know what I would do if I wrote this law? I would have added a part that says, if you kill an animal with your car, you have to eat it. Not you can, you have to eat it. Yeah, you see how safe the highways would become. People would be like, honey, slow down, I'm not hungry, slow down. And also, just to be fair to the animals, I would also add that if you hit an animal but you die, then the animal gets to eat you. Rules are rules, people. Rules are rules.